Welcome to Tuesdays at 2. I'm your host, RJ. In this show, we take a new ingredient every week. It's going to be an ingredient you can find at your local supermarket, and we're going to teach you how to make a wonderful recipe with it. So stick around and check out the recipe. Just with me a few minutes ago, our fault, we had a technical difficulty. We are back. So let me start over. Welcome to Tuesdays at 2. This is the show where we cook a couple recipes for you guys. Hopefully something that is pretty easy to find in your grocery store. I don't know if you've been following along. For the past few weeks, my crew has been putting ingredients in a bowl, and I've been picking them out and tasked with trying to figure out some recipes for those ingredients. This week's ingredient was coffee. Most of you guys probably instantly start thinking about tiramisu or coffee ice cream. We are going to do a dessert, actually, because the coffee appetizer I came up with almost burnt my house down, so I definitely was going to burn down the studio with no fan. But we are not going to do dessert first. We're going to start with the main dish. I am starting with a maple coffee glazed pork chop. I have this already preheating. Excuse me. I have this already preheating. This is our Swiss Diamond 12.5-inch nonstick fry pan with the HD coating. It's preheating over a pretty high heat. We don't want it to get too hot. Obviously, we got to keep it at 500 degrees or below. I know that this particular burner only gets to 475, so we got it cranked all the way up. So the first step is going to be, salt, pepper, and fresh, or I have dried thyme on the pork chops, just to give it some seasoning. So usually I'll tell you not to put pepper or herbs on your directly on your meat at the beginning, especially if you're going to sear it. That being said, these aren't going to be on long enough to be able to burn the herbs or the pepper. Pepper and herbs both burn pretty quickly, so you don't want to have that burnt flavor in your meat. Again, these aren't going to be there that long. It won't be a big deal. So we're going to take these and we're going to put them on. And what we're looking for is we're looking to just brown them on both sides. So we'll brown them on one side, we'll flip them over, and then we'll brown them on the other side. And, hey guys, can you grab me one of those rags? I forgot a rag. So we're going to brown them on one side, flip them to the other side. We're going to pull them off and start our sauce. And then from there, what we'll do, once the sauce gets about halfway down and evaporates about halfway, then what we're going to do is put our pork chops back in there, let them simmer in the sauce, and finish cooking. These are a little bit bigger than I recommend. I recommend you guys get ones that are about 3/4 of an inch thick, half to 3/4 of an inch thick. My local shop only had 1 to 1.25 inches thick with the bone. These are going to take a little bit longer than they will if you get them boneless. If you get them a little thinner, that's really what I would shoot for. That being said, these are still going to be fantastic. They're just going to take a few minutes longer, more time for you to hang out with me. So while these get going, we're going to start to mix our sauce ingredients. So in a bowl, what we're going to do is we're going to take about a cup of pre-made coffee. Whatever you usually drink is fine. I'm using a dark roast from the coffee room. So again, if that you guys drink dark roast, light roast, whatever is fine. From there, we're going to put in, what is this? A 1/4 cup of maple syrup. This stuff comes from Vermont. I picked it up on my trip last week. We're going to put in 2 tablespoons of Worcestershire sauce. We're going to put in 2 tablespoons of Dijon mustard. And we're just going to give that a stir while we get these pork chops browning up on our side here. So this recipe is super simple. That's all the ingredients in this. I would usually serve it over rice or mashed potatoes and with a green vegetable, broccoli or collards or Brussels sprouts, something like that would go really good with this. It's not while this sauce looks brown, it's not a brown gravy. So if you are one of those people that has to have a gravy on your mashed potatoes isn't what you're going to want to serve with this. That's why I usually go with the rice for this one. Plus, it is a sweeter dish, and I find that I don't really like sweet sauces on my potatoes, but I do enjoy them with rice. So that's why I say, go with rice with these. Excuse me. So while we have these cooking and we got that ready to go, again, these are going to take a few minutes longer today than they usually would. Usually they would take about 15 minutes total. I'm going to guess that we're going to be putting these on for about 20 today, just to make sure that they're cooked all the way through. My crew here does have to eat them, so I don't want to serve it to them raw. But wait, before we continue, do me a favor. Click that like button, subscribe to us if you haven't already. Make sure you've hit the bell so you get our notifications, and comment down below. I know you don't like everything I do, so let me hear it. Now, back to the recipe. 2 cameras, we're trying something new. Let us know if you like it. We're getting better every week. You can see on these that we're just starting to brown up the pork chops here. Switch the cameras. You can see it here how it's starting to get brown. That's really as far as we want to bring it. Excuse me, because what we're going to do is we're going to pull these off and we're going to get our sauce cooking. We're not trying to overcook them. We don't want to have a crust on these because this is going to be, it's not a slow cook, but it is kind of a braise. So we're going to pour in our liquid. It's going to be an instant boil because that pan's so hot. We'll bring it down. Just going to raise it just a little bit so it doesn't boil over the pan, so I don't have a huge mess to clean up. You guys see how slow it's taken for this thing to calm down? That is a testament to how good this cookware is as far as heat retention. I put it, that liquid going in there was ice cold. All right, so we're going to put these in here. We're going to keep them at a high simmer. They'll come back up in just a second. So that was really all you needed. That sauce just that fast evaporated by half. Excuse me, doing that stuff in a Swiss diamond pan. Doing that in a Swiss diamond pan, the liquid instantly evaporates off of that because of the cast iron, or the cast aluminum base. That cast aluminum base retains heat extremely well, holds it in, and make sure that it's kind of even all the way around. So you guys, we're going to have it excuse me, we're going to have it cook and simmer down like this for about 15 minutes. What we want to make sure is that we get all the pink out of the pork. We want to cook the pork till 145. You can eat pork a little bit on the medium side. I think that the government wants you to cook it to 145. I always tell you to cook it 145. If you eat pork a little bit pink, it's not going to get you sick, usually. But 145 is where you want this anyway, because you want to cook this all the way through. You want to make it, otherwise it's going to be a little bit tough. We don't want to have tough meat today. With it being a fairly swift cook, I don't know if you guys have noticed, but pork chops with a fairly swift cook end up being a little bit tough. You know, cutting through them. A lot of people need a lot of sauce to kind of moisten up their mouth while they're eating that real tough meat. The trick is, think about North Carolina Star Barbecue, how it just pulls away. That stuff cooked right. That was slow and low and cooked for hours and hours and hours. Obviously, we don't have hours and hours. I'm not going to pretend that like we're going to do that. But this is going to be more of a wet braise, which is going to make the meat a lot more tender as you're cooking it or as you serve it. Excuse me, guys. It's dry here in North Carolina for the first time in weeks. Cool. So as we're doing that, let me tell you what we're going to do here in a little bit. So the next thing we're going to make is a Nutella-filled coffee crepe. We're going to use a specific Swiss diamond crepe pan. I know normally I do 2 recipes at one time. What I think's been going on is I got too much going on. A lot of people are getting a little bit confused, so we're going to try to stick to one recipe. So come back in a little bit if you're interested in that one. We're not going to go live again, same live feed, but we're going to roll right into it. So what we've got going on here, you can't smell it here, but it smells sweet and it smells mustardy. You just want to keep them moving so that you get the sauce penetration throughout the pork. Since these are bone in, I did not do any tenderizing on them. If you get bone out pork chops, I think that it's best if you get your meat tenderizer, give it a few smacks, or if you have the one with the needles, give it the 1-2 punch holes, get the holes in there, let that meat get a little bit tender. Bone on, it's hard to do that. You start ripping the meat away from the bone, and obviously you don't present it well. Excuse me, and the bone's hanging off, and then you may as well cut the bone off, and then you lose the bone flavor and all the flavor that provides. So, my theory is don't tenderize bone in meat. Sorry. So guys, I don't know if you can see. Well, you can in a minute for sure. But you can tell that there's nothing sticking here. So this is a heavy sugar sauce, and there's nothing sticking to the pan. You can see as I move around the pork. And it just starts to fill in the gaps here, but normally you would have a lot of caramelization happening already. You'd have all the sugar sticking to it.
And this Swiss diamond pan, although these tongs aren't the best, but the Swiss diamond pan definitely is. You can see that it's not sticking to it, and it'll fold back in. That's our Swiss Diamond HD. That's the nonstick that we have on these pans. It's amazing. It's amazing. If you guys haven't watched us go through the egg videos or the omelet videos, go back and take a look at that. We cook, excuse me, we cook fried eggs, scrambled eggs, omelets, all without using any oils, without using any butters, without using any fats. I think in the video, some of them I did actually use some butter because I explained how to make them and make them delicious. And I love butter, so I put butter in my eggs. But you don't have to with the Swiss diamond pan. They're really made to cook without oil if that's part of your lifestyle. Excuse me. And that really, if used correctly, nothing stick to these things. So a question we get all the time is, are they dishwasher safe? The quick answer is yeah, you can put them in the dishwasher. The longer answer is I wouldn't. So what happens is the phosphorus in your dishwashing detergent can turn the bottom of them gray. Let's see if I have one here. Yeah. So the bottom is silver. It's shiny. All Swiss diamond pans have like a shiny bottom. If you put them in the dishwasher with a heavy phosphorus dishwashing detergent, you're going to end up turning them gray. It just kind of strips the color off it, strips the shininess off it. Nothing happens to the pan. 100% good to use. There's no reason why excuse me, there's no reason why you wouldn't use them anymore, but it does do that. So again, we say hand wash them. That's the recommendation. But if you're in a hurry, you got a bunch to do, you just want to spray it and throw it in your dishwasher, I'd much rather you do that than not clean it. Just spray it off and set it on the counter. So by all means, if that's how you want to do it, these pans are going to take it. The other question we get a lot is, can you use metal utensils in them? I really wouldn't recommend it. If you go at it with a metal spoon, or if you go at it with a metal spatula, a set of forks, or really anything, metal tongs that aren't the plastic ones, you're going to end up. It won't scratch the coating off of the pan, but what it'll do is it puts indentions in where the coating is. The coating is relatively soft compared to the steel that you're going to use in your tools. So, like I said, it'll end up putting like I don't know, little divots into your pan. Again, it doesn't scratch off the surface. It doesn't make the pan pan perform any worse. But what does happen again is it makes it not look as pretty. Excuse me. So we definitely recommend that you use either plastic or the Swiss diamond stuff is silicone, or wood, bamboo. All those are fantastic. You're not going to scratch the pan with that. Really, any material that is softer than our coating. And while yes, our coating does have diamonds in it, and that part of the pan is extremely hard. Obviously, diamonds are one of the hardest known substances. The binder for all of that is a little bit softer, right? So the part that holds everything together, the actual coating of the cookware is a little bit softer. Actually, I can show you guys while we have a few more minutes here. So what you have here, all right. What you have here is so this is the base, right? This is the cast aluminum base. This is the raw aluminum. That's what the pan looks like before we do anything to it. The next thing we have here is our plasma coating. So in our plasma coating, we have diamonds as well. I don't know if you can see, but it's pretty sparkly and shiny. What that does is twofold. One, it helps the coating stick to the aluminum, and two, makes it so that there's no way that your food will ever touch the aluminum. This is an impermeable layer. You'd have to go at it with a diamond bit to get through it. And then we have 4 layers of our diamond HD coating on the pan, which is what you see when you're cooking on it. So if you ever do scratch through it for whatever reason, if you have this thing, sometimes we see it after 5, 6, 8 years. People start to have pans that they beat on and beat on and beat on. And what you get to see, or what you start to see, is maybe a little bit of silver or gray underneath. You're looking at the plasma coating, so you don't have to worry about any aluminum or anything like that getting in your food. Okay, guys, so we are just about done here, and you can tell. So we've had this at a fairly low cook. You can see that most of the wet sauce has turned into more of a glaze for the pork, which is kind of what it's called, right? It's called a coffee maple glazed pork. So we're gonna take them. I'm gonna try to take this. Oh, there we go. We'll just plate them up like that. Boom. These are 2 big ones. Again, I would serve that over rice with some green vegetables. Get that out. Get that out immediately. It's not like steak. You don't need to let it sit. It's going to continue to cook. So you probably have, what you don't want to do is you don't want to overcook it, right? So you cook it to the 145. You bring it out to the table, and your guests or your family or you start eating it. By the time you get into it, you're probably looking at 150, which is exactly where you're going to want the pork. And it's going to be fantastic. Okay, guys. So what we're going to do now is we are going to transition. I'm going to do a quick clean. We'll come back. We're going to do crepes, a Nutella-filled coffee crepe. So don't leave. We'll be right back. And then after that, don't forget we need to pick a new ingredient for next week. Okay, guys. I'll be back in a minute. Here's the recipe for this. So check out the recipe. Write it down. If you have any questions, mark it down below. I'll be back in about 2 minutes. The recipe will be on screen for you guys. And we'll be right back.
Welcome back. Okay, guys, I hope that worked out for you. If you missed the recipe, we had it up for 2 or 3 minutes. By all means, you can go back and check it out. We're doing that. This next recipe we're doing is a Nutella-filled coffee crepe. Coffee crepes filled with a Nutella coating or frosting. You guys are gonna love this. So we're gonna start with the frosting. We're gonna start, yeah, with the frosting. So what we're gonna do is we're going to take some mascarpone cheese, just about a quarter cup of it, give or take. I'm gonna cheat it. I'm probably gonna go half cup. There's a lot of people here. People are gonna eat it. I promise. So, guys, if you've never messed with mascarpone cheese before, it's not whipped cream. I had somebody before ask me, "Hey, does that taste like whipped cream?" The answer is no, it doesn't. But it's fantastic. It's gonna be sweet. We're gonna put Nutella in it. You're gonna love it. So, next thing we're doing is we are going to take a packet of instant coffee that seems to be not okay for me to open. There we go. And I'm not going to use the whole packet because we're making a small one. I'm going to put in, I don't know, quarter tablespoon, give or take. And then from there, I'm going to put in a quarter tablespoon of vanilla. Boop, boop. And what we're going to do is we're going to whip that together first, then we're going to fold in the Nutella, right? So we're just going to get your spatula and kind of mash it down, run it up against the bowl. You can use a power whisk or whatever if you have one. I don't really like to use a whisk with cheese because what ends up happening is you overbeat it and it gets too stiff. So this way we're just kind of folding it in. So you can see that the coffee's already giving off its color. That's a little bit from the vanilla, but most of that's from the coffee, how it's going to turn a little bit brown. That's fantastic. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to open a Nutella, which I bet nobody opened this one, so it still has that thing on it. And I'm terrible at these. Let's see if I can get it off without a tool. Nope. So you take the end of anything, stick a hole in it. About 2 tablespoons of Nutella is what you're going for. Again, we're not baking, so I definitely don't think that you need to weigh this out. Just get it to wherever you like it. I love Nutella, so a little bit more is fine. That's about 2 tablespoons. Again, we're gonna mix this. We're gonna fold it in. So this is, again, it's what's gonna be on the inside of your crepe, right? So it's not gonna be a topping. So you don't need a ton of it. You'll notice that as I get this going, that we're not gonna need a whole lot as we get the crepes in there. So just kind of mix that until it's uniform. Mixing, so you can see, is difficult. So this is where, if you're cooking by yourself and you don't have the whole internet watching you or people in here that are going to shame you, I would definitely put your finger in a bowl and taste it. It's fantastic. I'm not going to do that. I promise. Not right now. I might in a little bit. We'll see. Okay, so next up, we have a Swiss Diamond crepe pan. We have two crepe pans. This one is the 9.5 inch. It's got a high side and a low side. The idea for that is you can get in one side, or when you want to serve it, you can serve it off the other side. Our 26 inch or not inches, sorry, that'd be huge. Or 26 centimeter or 6.5 or 10.25 inch. Good lord, has two high sides and two low sides. Same thing, you serve it off like that if you want to, and you get into it from either side. What we're going to do is we're going to get this on the cooktop. I'm going to put it over a pretty low heat, and we're going to begin our crepe batter. I bought store bought. Always buy store bought. If you want to make your own, that's fine. It's just you got to sift a lot of flour and put sugar in it and everything else. This comes fantastic. I don't remember what brand it is, but the good thing is this one only takes water. It doesn't need eggs. It's already got the binders in it. So I'm going to mix it as the package says. Do the same for yours. Most crepe mixes either just need water or need water, oil, and eggs. You want to make sure that your crepe batter is pretty thin. I can already tell this isn't. I'm going to have to send somebody out to get water. Can you go get me in whatever? It doesn't have to be in this. Just grab me some more. Yeah. So we're going to want it pretty thin. So the difference between crepe batter and pancake batter, a lot of times when you go to the store, you'll see pancake slash crepe slash what's the other thing? Waffle batter. So the big thing between crepe batter and pancake waffle batter is that it doesn't have a leavening agent in it. So there's no baking soda, baking powder, whichever one your recipe usually calls for. That's not in there. So the idea, crepes need to be extremely flat, right? Or they don't need to be. You can have them fluffy, but then they're a pancake. So we're looking for a really thin layer on here. We're going to get there in a minute. We're going to be able to show you how thin this is. As you can see right now, this is still pretty thick. I definitely need to water it down some, so we're going to get that going.
So you don't want it to be liquidy. You're definitely not going for that. Every crepe batter is a little bit different, but you want it to be, I don't know. If you guys make pancakes all the time, go a touch thinner than that. How's that? A little bit more water. Okay, I'll show you guys what it looks like in just a second. So I am going to spruce this up a touch. Since we're doing coffee crepes, I'm going to put some more of the instant coffee in here, about the same amount. So there you go. See how that's runny? Right? Gosh, it smells so good. So I'd lick this too. There we go. Can't put me in the kitchen with sweets. I eat them all. So we use about half of this packet on the frosting, or on the filling. Use the other half here. I'm going to use a touch of cinnamon on this as well. You don't need it. I love cinnamon. Whoa, there's no shaker on this. I'm glad I looked. We almost had too much cinnamon. Cinnamon you want to go real careful with, especially if you're not going for something like a pumpkin pie or a cinnamon flavored, like a Cinnabon or something like that. Cinnamon can get overpowering, especially when you add it to sweets. Okay, so boom. So what we've got here is, again, that's our Swiss Diamond HD nonstick crepe pan. You can do this in a fry pan. If you guys aren't using a good nonstick, you're going to want to use a little butter or a little oil. Not a lot. Same thing you use with pancakes. If you cook pancakes slow enough, they don't stick, right? However, butter makes pancakes taste better. You don't really need them for crepes, especially for this one. This is going to have plenty of sweetness in it. So what we're looking for on this is, I'm going to put some in the middle, and I'm going to work the pan around to where it becomes an even, kind of an even bottom all the way around. So again, we're not looking to make a pancake. It's probably too much, and it's already thickened up on me. And then we'll just run this bad boy around. Sorry about the beeping. You know how I say we get better every week? That's going to be one thing we get better at, is find a different thing that works. All right. So we're just going to thin this out. We give that a second to cook. We'll see if that works. This stuff needs some more water. It's still a little thick. All right, that is much better. You guys, I wish you could smell this. This smells amazing. Okay, so it is not ready yet. We're getting there. That is too thick. You know what else I don't have? Can you grab me a plate? I thought I had two. Oh, I used two for the pork thing, didn't I? Okay, guys, see how it's real thick on this side and thin on this side? That's the great thing about doing live TV, is this side is perfect. That's what you want crepe to look like. This side is way too thick because it wasn't wet enough. I'm going to cook it because we don't waste food around here, but we're going to do another one, show you guys what it should be like. So you see how it's not sticking at all? I mean, it's just flapping around on me. Excuse me. So what we're going to do is, I'm going to flip this over. I'm going to keep cooking it. We're going to move this one to the side. Everybody here will eat it. So that's how not to do one. Give me a second. We got it a little bit more wet, so it's going to work better this next time. Sorry, y'all. But there's really no wrong way to make these. That's still going to be delicious. You put a little bit of the cream filling on it, cut it up, eat it. You're not going to know the difference, especially if you're cooking these for yourself. Call it a pancake. Don't tell people you make crepes. Nobody will know the difference. It'll be fantastic. You're going to love it. I'm going to tell the crowd out there that this was a pancake, and I was showing you the difference between them. So, but there's no, as you can see, this side's still super thin. There's no leavening agent in this. I just poured it on way too thick on that side. So let that cook for one more second. We'll get back into it. Okay. So that pan is already warm. I don't know where I was going. Can you grab me another plate? There we go. Now I'll show you guys how to make a crepe, hopefully. All right, so again, as you guys can see, this is a lot more liquid than the last one. I thought the last one was good. We figured out it wasn't. All right, here we go. Yes. So put it on and work it pretty quick because it starts to cook on the bottom pretty quick, almost as fast as eggs, right? You can see on the edge here how it's already starting to bubble. That means it's starting to cook. All right, so now that's going to be a lot better. We're going to set that there. We're going to let it cook for about 2 minutes on each side, like you guys saw. Honestly, if I'm doing this, I would want it a little bit even thinner if I'm cooking it in a restaurant. But when you go out of the box and you get just the water kind, you get what they get. It's super easy though, and that's what we're doing here. All right, see how fast that was? So it's already starting to bubble on the bottom. We're gonna go slow around this because crepes are delicate. Boop, boop, boop. All right, now let's see if I can flip this as thin as it is with everyone watching on the whole internet. All of you on the internet are out there, right? Boom. It's a little thick. It's gonna work though. So we'll do one more, then we'll roll them up so you guys can see what we're doing there. Guys, if you have any suggestions on what we should cook in the future, by all means, let me know. Here in a minute, I'm going to pick an ingredient for next Tuesday. I have no idea what it is. Hopefully the crew put some good stuff in there. I want something fun. I don't know, maybe like a whole dang catfish or something. Have you ever cooked a whole catfish, not frying it? We could do it here. I live in North Carolina. We could go out and catch one, and I could have it on here before it passes away. It would be yummy. Anyway, so on to the next thing. So this is, see how it's almost as thin as paper. It starts to react like paper. That's what you want. This honestly may be a touch warm. I don't know if I would cook it quite as fast, but it actually, yeah, no, it's cooking fine. See how it's really thin? This one's still a little thick. I don't believe there was no leavening agent in this, but it's going to roll just fine. So we're going to take that, boop, move it right there. We're going to let that cool while we handle this one, because you are going to want to roll these probably with your hands. So you want to make sure that it's cool enough that you can, do that, right? So again, go a little faster. Oh, again, super thick. I don't know why, but I can't make dessert type meals without everything going everywhere. Sorry. Okay, now you can see around here on the edges, it's already starting to cook. That's what you're looking for. The other one, as you saw, got pretty bubbly all throughout. Again, it cooks just like a pancake. Excuse me. It is relatively the same ingredients, again, without the leavening agent. So you can tell that it's done in the same way. It starts to bubble up. The other one, as you saw, kind of bubbled all towards the middle. And it didn't brown, right? It didn't burn. So that's what you're looking for. If you do it on a lower heat, obviously it cooks slower. But what you can do there is you'll end up crisping up the edges. That's what I'm going for here. We're going to see if we can do that on this one because it has more time on the heat before you flip it. If you cook it hotter, what's going to happen is these bubbles are going to come up super fast. You're going to want to flip it super fast, and the inside's still going to be pretty doughy and moist. So it depends on which way you're going for. Again, with a crepe, I want them razor thin. Looking at this, as I said, this definitely has some leavening agent in it. So I believe that I may have been lied to that it was crepe specific, but it's going to be fantastic. If you guys want to see crepes in the future, maybe crepes in the bowl. I don't know. I can make it from scratch. There's not a lot of cooking going on. I'm here to help you guys buy this cookware. I don't know if me stirring a whole bunch of stuff and sifting flour and getting this whole place white is worth it for you guys. But if that's something you want, comment down below. We can make it from scratch. Not a big deal. Speaking of cookware, you guys notice how this how the Swiss Diamond Nonstick is nothing sticking to it, right? So I'm going around. I know you're like, oh, it's sticking right there. No, it's not actually. What's happening is I'm trying to peel away the cooked and let the non-cooked continue to cook without burning the edges. The bottom of this is not quite done. You can tell like it's kind of gooey. You can't feel that, but I can feel it. I can feel that it's gooey. So that's kind of what we're doing. We're gonna give it another 30 seconds on there to get the bottom to be ready. and we'll flip it and we'll start stuffing these, and that'll be fantastic. There we go. Now we're getting there. It's still a little gooey. I'm gonna give it another minute. You guys, if you haven't used the mascarpone before, do it. I know a lot of people think, "Ooh, cheese, sweet, that doesn't work." Think about it: cream cheesecake, right? That's fantastic. Mascarpone is similar to cream cheese, similar to creme fraiche. It's different, but it's similar. And so what it does is it's super soft, super light, and it's almost a sweet cheese. It's not like you're putting sugar and cinnamon in cheddar cheese or Swiss cheese. That would probably be gross. Although I'd try it. I try anything. And then, but this stuff just makes for fantastic desserts, fantastic fillings, fantastic frostings. Yeah, definitely use mascarpone in your life. All right. Boop. There we go. See how that one's real blonde and how I just messed it all up? That's what we're going for. This definitely has leavening agent in it because it didn't stay flat. Doesn't matter. It's going to taste fantastic. And 4 of you are going to get really mad in the comments and say, "That's not a crepe." And I'm going to say, "Yeah, you're right. Looks like he sold me pancake mix." But, same thing. But see, I didn't put any oil on that. I'll do another one if you want to see it. We don't really need to though. So I didn't put any oil on it. That's the HD Nonstick happening right there. Nothing sticks to it. If you cook how you're supposed to cook, you preheat the pan, you let the proteins in whatever you're cooking begin to contract and get away from the pan. What happens is it's not going to stick, right? So even eggs are notorious. Sugar's notorious for sticking. That stuff does not stick to these pans. Again, if you're using it how you're supposed to, you cook how you're supposed to, and also use the pan to their through their use and care cards. How they're supposed to be used, and you're good. So now I'm just gonna roll these, man. That's all you do with a crepe. The other side was more prettier. We're gonna do the other side on this one. Get it? Flip it. There we go. We'll do the ugly side on the inside. So the good thing with crepes is you don't have to always be sweet, right? You can definitely make them savory. One of my favorite crepes is out of this little shop in Maine, and I don't remember the name of the place. It's Crepes R Us or something. But it is a shiitake mushroom lox cream cheese. It's fantastic. So you guys, these are crepes, and they are wonderful. You guys should take these home and eat them. I'm gonna cook another one to prove to myself I can get one flat. If you guys want to stick around while we do that, while we're getting that other ingredient, make it a little bit more wet. Again, the key to this stuff is to make it thin, right? So every Tuesday, 2 o'clock, we're here, we're live, we're cooking 1 or 2 dishes, maybe 3. The idea is things that you can get. All the ingredients are things you can get at your local grocer. I'm not going to pick anything super exotic. We're not going to pick any. Well, I may do seasonal. I may do seasonal veggies or stuff like that. But what we're not going to do is pick exotic stuff or things that you can't get at your local grocer, or at least most of you. And then real easy meals. Everything's going to be 20 minutes or less, give or take. We like these things to sit about a half hour. So what if they have to be a half hour, that means the meals are 20 minutes or so. Easy, go home, cook one of these tonight, have your family, treat your family to something new, treat them to something they're going to love. Guys, next up, we are going to pick an ingredient out of the magic bowl. Where's the magic bowl? So, just so you guys know, we did papaya 2 weeks ago, and we did coffee today. Go back and watch the papaya one. We made a really good snapper dish, as well as a fantastic grilled papaya dessert. Coffee today. Obviously, we did a pork. We did a pork and we did a dessert. Maybe next week. I don't know what's on this thing yet, but maybe next week we can do an appetizer. Football season's in, right? So maybe we can do some football food. Let's see. Tahini. Yes, we're doing dips. So I got tahini. So it's probably gonna be Greek based. I'll see what I can do. I know all you guys instantly think hummus. I'm not gonna make hummus. You know why? You don't cook hummus. I'm doing something we can cook. I don't want to just mix stuff in a bowl. But tahini is our ingredient for next week. So come back, see what recipes I come up with for the.
Thanks for joining us. We had a lot of fun. Do me a favor, click that like button, click the subscribe button. If you haven't hit the bell, make sure you hit that. Comment down below. Stay tuned. Next week, we're going to bring you another great recipe.